SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Join the growing crowd at Mid-Delta Online Auction. Download their app by searching Mid-Delta Auction to bid on tractors, trailers, heavy equipment, golf carts, and more. Download the app today or call Will Jeffcoat at 662-299-2414 for more details for the first Tuesday of every month auction in Greenwood.
Roll pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, roll A, fade up on A.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
All right, let's go. A new week of the SuperTalk Eagle Hour is on the air from the Southern Bancorp studio here in Hattiesburg. Bob Getty, Kelly Sander, Dima Mixon. We're glad you're all with us today. Opening segment of our show every day, sponsored on this day, a Movie Star Restaurant right here in Oak Grove, Mississippi, where you get a delicious Southern cooking buffet. 6 days a week, every day except for Saturday. They're open and serving up delicious food, 11 to 2 every day. Friday nights from 5 to 8. Been doing it for 25 years, Movie Star Restaurant, right here in Oak Grove. All right, we're going to continue our Sunbelt football countdown in the next segment. We're going to be hearing from Old Dominion coach Ricky Ronnie. That's upcoming. Dima's back with us after a couple of days off. Was at practice this morning and brought a little news about the Golden Eagles. Dima taking advantage of the latest federal court ruling involving NCAA eligibility.
Yeah, and this all stemmed from that court ruling, as you just mentioned, in Colorado, which ordered the NCAA to let a specific group of athletes play another season, even under the NCAA's current rule, that they had already run out of eligibility. And that group included athletes who started college in the 2022 and 23 school year and athletes who have used all 4 seasons of eligibility by the end of 2025 season. So, in other words, if you were a freshman in 2022 and just finished your senior year this past springs, the judge says that the NCAA must currently treat you as eligible for another year while the lawsuit continues. The athletes argued that the NCAA changed its eligibility rules in the middle of their college football career, so that's why they should get another year. So there's 3 players, or rather, we talked to Blake Anderson pretty much every day after practice, and we weren't even really looking for this. He kind of just said it, and then, now us as media members then jumped all over him, and the whole press conference turned into questions about this. But there was always the idea that there could be some players from last year's team who had exhausted eligibility who fall under this category. And, there were some names being thrown out there. And Blake Anderson said this morning that 3 players from last year's team are now back with the team via the Colorado ruling. And those players include offensive lineman Greg Nunnery, offensive lineman Alawi Maui, and defensive lineman Jameer Lewis. Anderson said that Jameer Lewis and Greg Nunnery are both in Hattiesburg now, and they are going to be at practice later this week. And he said that Alawi Maui is not here now because there's only so many flights back from American Samoa, which is where he's from, and only so many flights from the mainland, so he doesn't expect him to get here till Wednesday. And, but he does expect all 3 of them to be in practice by the end of this week, if not at the beginning of next week. So obviously, your first thought might be, oh, that's great, and they're going to be football ready. But Anderson said, listen, we told all of them, you may not play a single snap here. You might not get on the field at all. I mean, they don't know the football condition of any 3 of these players, and Anderson made that very clear. So certainly if they were to get acclimated in football, right, I mean, that's obviously some great depth in your offensive line where you have 2 starters back from last year that would get you some depth there in the offensive line room. That certainly is a big question mark. And then on the defensive line, I mean, if Jameer Lewis, if he's back and can play football and is ready to play football, he is therefore probably your best defender. I mean, he started almost every game last year. He was, 4th in the team in tackles, in the backfield. He was a really good player for you last year. So he would be, automatically your number 1 player on defense more than likely.
Wouldn't logic dictate, though, that in light of this ruling, when you're looking at your depth chart, you want to attack the first place that you think you might be most vulnerable, that you would be most vulnerable, which 2 of the 3 are offensive linemen, as Dima just mentioned. 1 is a defensive lineman. wouldn't that stand to reason just on the surface that, okay, we don't necessarily know what we have. We just think we might be in a little bit more need on the offensive line and the defensive line?
Well, it just fell under who actually filled or actually met all the criteria necessary to come back. So
Gotcha.
I don't think they were looking for players.
Okay.
These 3 players just fit that criteria, and it just happened to be 2 offensive linemen and a defensive lineman. I mean, if it was the kicker, if it was the punter, if it was
Gotcha.
the wide receiver, these 3 players fit the criteria, and now they're back on the roster. And, it's certainly, inherently good news. I mean, you have players, even if they're not football ready over the next week or so, certainly can bring some experience and voice into each of these rooms that, you talk about the offensive line room, no playing experience there other than Brock Rowan. The defensive line room, no playing experience there. And so, anytime you can get these players who've actually played Division I football into those rooms and bring some voices in there, it certainly would help you, even if they're not football ready. Like, for example, put the pads on your starter, next week.
All right, so you were at practice today. This is the second week of fall camp kicking off. Anything you see that jumped out at you?
No, pretty much the same. The pads are on now, so that they did do some live reps towards the end of practice, and all the ones look like the same ones from spring. So, but Blake Anderson has just made it clear and clear that there's not been a single job won, and that they don't really know what they have yet, and that they can't do enough live football because none of these guys have ever really played Division I football before. So, Hampton, as far as the quarterback battle go, Ethan Hampton is the starter of this team. I don't really see any way that would change unless some, heaven forbid, some injury happened in fall camp towards him. Liddy, to me, is the clear number 2 with John White behind him. And so that to me is where the quarterback battle stands. And then, running backs, Robert Briggs is still nursing an injury. And then they've been running Steven Robinson a lot with the ones, and he's a number 14, the transfer out of the Coffeyville Community College. Wide receivers, I really am bullish on these wide receivers. Grant Page on the outside, big body. You got Jalen Himes, who's that's the player that everybody needs to start hearing a lot. For Southern Miss wide receivers goes. The offensive line, I don't really know what to think about them, at least as of now. And then the defense, it's just. It's hard to gauge how good the defense is because they're not playing another team. But if you're just looking at the defense, it certainly looks like a defense that is all new, and you have 11 new starters, and you have a first-year defensive coordinator. That's just the reality of it. And I think if you go and watch it, you would see some of the problems with all of those newness, if that makes sense.
The current landscape of college football too, it begs to ask the question. Guys with eligibility, does that even mean they – and I throw this out there, but does it mean you even have to be in school to play college football? I'm saying, do you have to take classes?
That's interesting. Would those 3 guys have to be enrolled in school and completing academic work?
I think so. If I remember correctly, Carson Beck last year at Miami, he was a 6th-year player. And I remember some reporter asked him before that playoff game, and he was like, no, I haven't been in school in a year. So yeah. I don't know if that I really don't know the answer to that.
I understand. I'm
not going to give an answer then.
Right. But no, that's why I'm throwing it out there. Is that I don't think that you necessarily even have to be a student. It used to be a student first, athlete second, but now with all these years of eligibility, what kind? Unless you're going to become an MD or something like that, you don't even need to go to school for 7 years.
I would think the coaches from other sports too are now looking at their roster and seeing who might have another year of eligibility that they would be interested in getting back. Basketball and baseball, right?
Right, and certainly, that's. The problem, though, is that this injunction happened so late. So you have, all these rosters that are already completed.
For football.
Right. Now, baseball and basketball are different. You could get some players back for basketball. And then baseball, certainly, the first player that comes to mind for me is Kyle Morrison. That would obviously be a nice
What about Bull?
No, he exhausted his eligibility. No. He was here in 21. So, yeah, but, Morrison for sure.
Who they'd take back?
Yeah, I think Sibley could be back. If off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of everybody who was in that 2022 class. So, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if Oz wants to do that. We'll see. Because there's a part of you that wants to move on, but then there's a part of you that's like, yeah, if we need the help. I don't know. That's a question.
Well, and then there's players too. You may have players that are ready to move on with another part of their life. Right. Cross Sibley's a great example. I think he's got plans. He just got married. Those kind of kids may not want to come back and play another year.
And what a mess.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just a mess from the get-go, right?
Don't you wish the federal judges would just stay out of things for a while?
Things were a lot more calm and a lot more.
They just want to run everything, don't
Yes.
And it seems like the Protect College Sports Act is not going to be passed before the Senate went off into their break this weekend. So that's an update on the
nor the Save America Act either. They're not going to pass anything before they go on break.
No, if it has Trump's name on it.
Although the Save College Sports was eventually approved by the Big Ten and the SEC,
was,
right?
and then they still didn't pass it. So I don't know what to do with that.
You can always count on Congress. That's what I say.
Golly, man.
Yeah, let's get Congress and federal judges.
Medicare for all.
In the midterms this year, can we just fire everybody and just get
I'd be for
538 new congressmen, please?
All right, when we come back, let's talk a little Sun Belt football. We'll hear from Ricky Ronnie, who is the head football coach at Old Dominion. Expect to contend, I think it's fair to say.
Yes.
For the East. We'll be right back.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
Southern Miss to the top. To the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
Time for the SuperTalk Eagle Hour 2026 Sun Belt Football Countdown, sponsored by Hancock Whitney Bank.
At Hancock Whitney, we know strong communities are built through teamwork, dedication, and tradition, the same values that define Southern Miss athletics. I'm Daniel Stewart, business banker at Hancock Whitney. We're proud to support Eagle Hour and the student athletes, alumni, and fans who make Golden Eagle Nation so special. Whether you're buying a home, growing your business, planning for retirement, or simply looking for a trusted financial partner, our team is here to help you every step of the way. Hancock Whitney, your dream, our mission. Proud to support Southern Miss. To the top.
All right, we appreciate Hancock Whitney. We're going to go east today, Kelly. Who we got?
Old Dominion's head coach Ricky Ronnie has been at it in the Sun Belt longer than any of the current coaches. His team went 10-3 last year with another bowl bid. And interesting that Old Dominion wearing it on their shoulder, that everybody is picking James Madison, who lost just about everybody. And Old Dominion has a lot of its players back from a defense that was highly heralded in the Sun Belt, but the offense as well. I had a chance to sit down and talk with Coach Ricky Ronnie at Media Day in New Orleans a couple weeks ago. Coming in 3, 2, 1. Coach Ricky Ronnie now in his 7th season at Old Dominion. Boy, Coach, when you look at last year's team, which is kind of where we're going to start the interview, recap and letting people know where you guys were 10-3 last year. Man, you had some great first quarters last year, outscoring people, 4-1 in the first quarters, and great running game. Averaged 238 yards. 4 times you rushed for over 300 yards. Now, that was last year, and boy, this is this year, and you lost a lot of people. So let's start with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing is, last year we had 5 offensive linemen that started every game, and so they're all gone. And so we're going to have a whole new starting offensive line. But I like the progress those guys are making right now. So that's going to be critical for us. We're going to have a new quarterback. We got 3 guys competing for it right now. Quinn Hennicle, who's started 2 games for us before and won a Sun Belt game for us and a bowl game. Then we got Jackson Potter coming from Washington State. And then we got Ryan Huff, who will be, his second year in the program, but a very talented kid, and so we'll see how he goes. Running back, we got Devin Roche. He's our returning starter on offense, and with us here today. And so he's a kid who's a very tough kid, can run inside and outside, but started to really get going, and we got him over 100 yards quite a few times last year. And then we got 3 other guys that we think can play for us.
I think passing wise too. When you look at last year, I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'd imagine that the passing completion percentage you'd like to improve. It was 58%, something like that last year. You probably want to improve on that, but you got 3 guys that. What's the expectation there? I'll just ask that.
I mean, last year we pushed the ball down the field quite a bit, so it's 58%, but it's probably a little misleading. We just didn't throw the ball underneath very much. I mean, just the way we were attacking people with the receivers we had and the quarterback we had, we were going to throw the ball down the field. And so it was able to generate some explosive plays, but yeah, the completion percentage needed to be higher. But we hope to improve that this year with maybe some scheme changes, but also some, we feel confident with the guys that we have and the guys catching the ball. I think our tight ends are really going to improve. We got really 3 new tight ends there. I think those guys are going to really improve our production there. And then receiver, we lost some pretty talented guys. I mean. But we replaced them with, I think, some guys who are going to really surprise some people. So it's one of those things. We got some guys returning, and a guy like Sidney and Banasaur and TJ Johnson and Josh Rodriguez. But then we also have some other guys who we brought in, like Kendall Harris, to catch passes, and that guy I think is going to be a big time player for us. JJ Harrell's another one from down in Mississippi. I think he's going to be another guy who's going to be good for us.
Okay, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball now. Really, man, last year, second-ranked defense in the Sun Belt, doubled sacks as opposed to your opponents, the sacks that your opponents got. You guys doubled that number. You got Mario Easterly coming back in the secondary. Tell us about him and about what you're expecting on the defensive side.
Yeah. Mario's a great player, versatile player for us. He started at 2 different positions for us in his career. Both the boundary safety and that middle safety for us, and done a great job. And he's been a good tackler for us. He's been around the ball, can play man coverage, very, very good blitzer. So excited about him, especially being his 3rd year in the system. And, that's going to be huge for us. So we're excited about what he brings. But, we returned 10 of our top 18 players in terms of snaps on defense. So we've got some returner on defense and, really 4 linebackers that have played significant ball for us up front. We have 60 linemen that have played for us quite a bit. And so in the secondary, both our corners and 2 safeties. And then, we've got some guys who can make some plays. So we're excited about, and then same defense coordinator, right? So we have some continuity there that I think is going to lead to some good things.
Yeah, you only allowed like 170 yards on 3 different occasions last year. I only gave up 170 yards and didn't allow more than 10 points in any of the last 5 games, something like that. So it's interesting though, because when you talk to people about Old Dominion, they talk about the offense, but to some degree because you push it down the field. But and this defense, man, again, but that was last year. But here we go, right?
Yeah, they've been pretty good. We've been pretty good on defense since I got there. Credit to Coach Seiler and that defensive staff. And honestly, if you look at our defensive staff, 4 of the 5 guys are all back and have been back with me basically the entire time I've been there. We got a new corners coach last year, and he's back with us again. So we have no defensive staff turnover, which I think is also going to be really helpful. But no, I'm expecting our defense to play well. I'm expecting, especially up front, we should do some damage up front, and I think that's in my team that I want to coach. The offensive line and defensive line is always going to be the mainstays. That's going to be who's going to set the tempo. And so, I think that we're going to be able to do that on defense.
All right. So, Kelly, are you buying or selling Old Dominion?
I'm buying Old Dominion. I think they're going to be better than JMU because of that defensive front that they talk about. And even though different coaches, some will be some former quarterbacks or whatever, but they all come back to the same thing: offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah.
And those guys are never real popular. I'm saying in the NFL, college, you never really hear about much on the offensive line or defensive line, studs. But those are the guys that should be making the money because that's where the game's won, and it doesn't matter who's coaching.
You're not very good if you don't have a good offensive line.
and quarterback. And if you
Correct.
put those together, and Old Dominion's going to be a little bit new on the offensive side of that ball, but as good as I think that defense is going to be, that defense is going to keep them, I think, in every single game that they play this year. And even though a lot of other teams might be more experienced on offense, defense wins you the championships. Offense will win you a game or two. But Old Dominion's defense has, if not the most experience coming back on the Sun Belt, but it's proven and it's good.
All right, Dima, buying or selling?
Yeah, I think they could definitely win the East, and a part of it's to do to their schedule. They pull the two toughest teams in the East. Outside of them, at home, you get James Madison at home and Marshall both at home on your home field. So that's just always a good thing to draw both of those teams. And then you look at their road games, and it's nothing. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's nothing to necessarily look at and you're scared about. Georgia State on the road. App State on the road, who has a lot to figure out there, and then you get La Tech on the road, who's improved, sure, but Old Dominion, probably a little bit better than them, and then Coastal on the road, and you really don't know what you're getting from them. So I think Old Dominion is very, very much has a path to winning the East.
And I think Southern Miss, that's the last regular season game, and that's at ODU?
At ODU. Senior day for ODU is against Southern Miss.
And that'll be the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. So I'm really bullish on ODU.
Well, I'm looking forward to Wednesday's segment because you're going to be talking to the coach at Louisiana Tech, and they're sort of the unknown coming back into the league. I think they'll come back in competitive myself.
Well, that's the big question that everyone kind of debated in New Orleans. How would you compare the overall football quality of Conference USA, where they came from, to the football quality of the Sun Belt? And again, nobody has a definitive answer. You could make an argument for each side. But he's got particularly a quarterback situation. They've got some people coming back. Louisiana Tech, I think you guys will be astounded when Coach Cumbie actually talks to you, the financial benefit of Louisiana Tech being in the Sun Belt compared to where they were in Conference USA.
All right, that'll be Wednesday. We want to thank our good friends at Hancock Whitney Bank for sponsoring the Sun Belt Countdown, and we're going to have Louisiana Tech on Wednesday, and then we'll be talking about Georgia State come Friday. Hey, as we head to the break, I want to remind you about some great friends of ours. One would be MCS Home Center. That's where you go for home repair, home remodeling, home construction. Everything you need for your next project, home, lawn, or garden is available at MCS Home Center out in Bellevue. And that second segment, of course, was sponsored by our wonderful friends at Eagle Tire West. They're out on Highway 98 West as well. Matt Warren and his staff invite you to see them there for Goodyear products and other major brand tires, full auto and truck service work, including AC work, family operated since 1985. Eagle Tire and Eagle Tire West. Super Talk Eagle Hour continues after the break.
The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Welcome back, everybody. DBAT sponsors this segment of the Eagle Hour. DBAT's on Hardy Street. That's where Luke Reynolds and his staff manage baseball and softball training for kids, sports training of every kind for adults. Got a great pro shop, beautiful facility inside, and hopefully one day we're going to get Luke on the show, and then hopefully we're going to do a remote down there where Kelly gets in the batting cage, and we'll certainly let you know if that happens.
Well, what we should do is put me in the batting cage, and as a fundraiser, anybody in this town that hates me, which I'm sure there are
the
quite a few.
The show's only an hour.
But I'm saying you charge them $5 to throw whatever they want to throw at me, and we'll give the money to a charity. I'm sure that'd be...
Oh, well, there'll be some happy charities to hear that if we set that up. Hey, Forest Health reminds you, don't throw balls at Kelly, but make sure that you take care of the most important player on your team. You Get an annual physical. Be sure your health is as good as it can be. Forest Health can help you. Expert medical care closer to home. Oh, no.
The visitor from the east? We've had confirmation via...
Keep teasing this. He better show up.
He is coming, right? Hang on. You know not to interrupt
you missed
this.
it, didn't you?
No, she's coming.
Okay. Where is she? Patience. We have heard
there she is.
via courier pigeon that Kelnack will be here
We hear he will be here the week that football kicks off.
Yes, he will have his Sunbelt prognostications.
He's working on it now. Have you been in communication with the great man?
Well, like I said, through that's the only way you can reach him is through carrier pigeon.
It'll take a week to get back the message from him. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Send
take
it
a week.
off and hear back from him in a week or so.
Yes.
So Kelnack's Sunbelt preview might be a little different than some of the other ones that we've had before, predictions-wise, anyway.
Yes, and Hump will be here with him, yes.
Hump the Wonder Camel will
Hump
provide the
Wonder
transportation.
Camel. So that will be the week of kickoff. You can promise us that Kelnack will be here by then. I know he's probably left. Will he be here by
He's
then?
got a long journey.
All I can do
Camels
is,
are not fast.
All I can do is communicate as best I can.
All right.
But Kelnack has never disappointed. Well, let me take that back.
Yeah, a couple times. He's pretty been disappointing with some of his predictions. And I will notify Corner Market because we always tie Hump up to the Coke machine, let the kids pet him and stuff while he's here.
If you can get through the smell. Yeah, camels are not real.
Don't forget to bring that big flat shovel of yours. You know what happened the last time Hump was here too long.
Which a lot of people would think this entire show is nothing.
We should bring that shovel in the studio
Every day.
The good news is, if you're a college football fan,
everybody's going to be in the playoffs.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the playoff committee was meeting this week to discuss a further expansion of the college football playoff. And the idea, generally going into this meeting, that it was going to become a 24-team playoff, jumping from 12 to 24. Now that seems like not the case. It seems like this is going to be a 20-team playoff instead of 24. So that would mean, your top 12 teams get it automatically in, and then you have 4 play-in games to find out 13, 14, 15, 16 seeds, which would alleviate, would probably add another week on the college football schedule. So whenever they play those games, I don't know.
I think ultimately their goal was to make it as long as basketball season.
I think they're working on it. Didn't you tell me that this year the national championship game will be even a week later than it was last year?
It's the 24th or 25th of January.
Of January.
Yeah.
College football.
Yes.
Of course, the Super Bowl will probably be a week after that.
Right.
It is, Kelly.
I think it is.
I think it's
February
the first
5th or something like that. Yeah.
Isn't that
and by the and I know that there are some people that will say, well, why shouldn't these many teams get in? I mean, 64 teams in basketball or 66 or whatever it is. It's because of the physical nature of football.
No, it's completely different.
Well, I would argue it actually. It to me, it devalues the regular season. I mean, for example, it used to be you'll lose one game, you're not getting in the playoff. I mean, that's kind of how it was during that 4-team era, or if you lose one game, you kind of have to do a lot to get in. Now it seems like you can lose 2 games, which makes sense because NIL and all these things. A lot of these teams are more equal than they really have been. For example, Indiana's coming up and figuring out things, but with a 24-team playoff, I mean.
Well, let me ask you this.
Alabama goes 8-4. They're probably getting in the playoffs.
That is going to be my question. That doesn't mean that more schools like Southern Miss are going to get in the playoffs. No. It means that 500 SEC teams are going to get in the playoffs. Not literally.
All of them.
Yeah. Maybe all of them. Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thought was when they were discussing 24 was that every conference, the winner gets an automatic bid.
They'll never do that.
And I don't know if they'll do it or not. And it seems like the Big Ten doesn't want 20. They want 24. It seems like a foregone conclusion we're expanding, though. So, I don't know. I mean,
I have a real problem.
I like 12. 12 to me is fun because you get the 4 teams, you get the buys, it's something to play for. And then like you go 9-3, 10-2, you're kind of on the bubble. I think that's a good format. No team should be going 8-4 and getting into the playoffs, in my opinion.
Well, that's what will happen.
I know if they go to 24.
Yeah. But I don't even like 12. I mean, and I hate to say it, but our brethren from the Sun Belt, James Madison, I think them and Duke could have been argued as the best of the rest. last year. James Madison got in and got throttled by Oregon. I mean, it's apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have more apples against more oranges.
In football.
Football is unlike any of the other sports. In basketball, you can slip up and win a game here or there. Baseball, certainly. Right. On any given night, you get a good pitching performance. But in football, you have the bigger, faster, stronger guys. You're going to win 95% of those games.
I mean, look at Tulane. I mean, everybody talks about James Madison, but Tulane was probably better than James Madison, and they got their butts whipped at Ole Miss.
Right.
So
I don't think that. I think we're just feeding into this soccer mom mentality, I think they call it, where everybody gets a trophy, nobody gets their feelings hurt.
But the thing is, I think what people understand, especially here at Southern Miss and things, is they say that, we want to add these other teams. They don't really want the group of 5 in the playoff.
No, they do not.
These preseason magazines, outside of our buddies Phil Steele, who's the best, by the way, these preseason magazines, I picked up one the other day. They don't even have the group of 5 in the magazine.
So
it's just the Power 4.
Yeah, that we don't count at all.
Right. And
that's what ESPN and the television networks want.
Right.
They always want the national championship game to be Big Ten versus SEC.
Right.
Every time.
But I have to say, to be fair, if you let those teams play it out, that's the way it's going to be most all the time.
Well, that's why I advocate in football, splitting it up. Not baseball and basketball, but in football. Because, and Luke Johnson made this comment one time on the show, he said, football is the only sport where athletes are told you have no opportunity to ever compete for a national championship. You play at Southern Miss. You can go 15-0, and you're not going to play for the national championship. And I think he has a legitimate point about that. Only sport that that going in. If I play here, I'll never play for a national championship. I don't think that's a good thing. I think everybody ought to have the opportunity.
But that's because of the apples and oranges.
Correct. That's why I say it would be better in football to split it up at the end of the year and let everybody.
But if you are going to keep it generally the way it is, we don't need 20 teams. Just go back. I'm one of the old schoolers that I thought they did a pretty good job with identifying the top 4. Maybe 5 or 6 ones that were on the fence, so to speak. But the more it's just football is not
I'll
conducive.
Say this, it was 12, right?
It's 12 now,
and it was entertaining.
I like 12.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
I like 12, and it doesn't diminish the regular season. I think that, to me, like when you go to 24, you lose 3 games, you still can get in the playoff, and I just think that diminishes.
Then it becomes like Major League Baseball,
right? So then these huge games, like there's huge college football games this fall. Whoever it is, Ole Miss, LSU, all these games really don't matter because you lose that game, you're fine.
There won't be any interest in that game.
And on the other side of the coin, there are schools like Duke and Tulane who were on the outside looking in last year.
Well, Tulane was in.
That would be that's right. Duke was the one.
Yeah,
that
was Duke. As a conference champion.
Yeah, that they would say, well, if the rules were different, we would have been in.
Right, sure. Right. Will there be a more watched college football game this year than when LSU goes to Oxford?
Yes.
I don't know.
Let me guess, Ohio State and who?
Oh, come on.
It's always the most watched game of the year.
Forget it. I'm talking about the game with most public interest. You can't tell
around here.
You can't tell me it's not going to be that game.
That will be the highest sought after ticket.
There's no question.
If you want to pay off the mortgage for about 6 months,
go buy you a bunch of tickets right now and wait till about a week before the game.
Yes.
I financed my tickets on the SuperTalk card that you gave me. Was I supposed to do that?
Shh. He doesn't know about the card.
the card that will soon be taken away from you?
He doesn't have a card, Demo.
Oh.
I don't have a parking pass.
I tried to talk to you.
I don't have a press credential. I don't have anything.
Oh, you don't have that parking pass?
No. I've never had a parking pass.
Well, games that I may not get to attend this year, if you'll remind me, I'll give you mine. It's right by the stadium.
Don't do me any favors. Don't start now, Bob.
Actually, they take me and Dima and drop us off right by the stadium.
They do. They get us in a golf cart. Shout out to the athletic communication.
They do that to you, don't they, Kelly?
Have you ever been in one of their golf carts and driven up right next to the press box?
News and notes on the Eagle Hour coming up next.
He's never been in the press box.
I'll get you that card back, Bob.
I'm not allowed in the press box.
We'll be right back.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour. The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Hey, you got some old gold laying around your house, maybe some silver jewelry? You want to get cash? Take it to Jewel Masters. Highway 98 West. Marty Vick's been buying gold and silver longer than anyone. He'll give you a great price, fair price. It'll be confidential. You'll be in and out of the store very quick. They're located right across the street from Academy Sports on Highway 98 West. Jewel Masters. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the Johnny-come-latelys. Easy talk is easy, right, Kelly? Talk is cheap.
Or don't get fooled by fool's gold.
Woo, boy, look at that.
How about that?
I'm telling that's why he's on the Eagle Hour, everybody. And if you want to cater your next event, then football is just around the corner. Make sure you remember our good friends at Dickey's Barbecue. That's really their specialty. They'll cater any event from 5 people to 500, literally. Keep them in mind if you get ready for a good homecoming or a good tailgate this fall. We would strongly suggest you visit our friends at Dickey's Barbecue. Hey, our podcast is available all the time. It's available on Apple, Audible, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. Alexa or Siri will play the SuperTalk Eagle Hour for you. I want to say hello to our good friends out at Genesis of Hattiesburg on Highway 98 West, where you'll find beautiful sedans and SUVs, and Mo Babe and Yay Company, where you can go get a good dessert anytime you like.
I was actually on campus this morning for a tree planting. There was one of my dear friends passed away, and they planted a tree in his honor. I was out there this morning, and I happened to look into Mo Babe, and yet packed this morning.
Really?
And well, the students are coming back, slowly but surely, and a lot of the administrators and faculty are, I don't know what was going on this morning at Mo Babe, but it's always...
Yeah, they're coming back from Christmas break.
Real busy. They didn't want to take things too quickly.
No, their mental health is very important.
Some free spaces, safe spaces, not free spaces.
Did y'all see where the University of Michigan, one of Dima's favorite football programs, they're doing away with grades for underclassmen.
I did see that.
For their mental health, it said. It's mentally stressful to get a D or an F.
Well, they already have mental health if they went to Michigan. So.
Hell, I celebrated when I got a D. How about you, Kelly? What, I passed? Oh!
Hey, D's get degrees.
That's what I said. You can't spell degree without D.
And that's right.
And I got a D- in college algebra, passed with a 62%. And I'm okay with saying that. I'm not a math guy.
It is funny you say that. I remember I was at Mississippi Delta Junior College, my first semester of junior college, and stayed there one semester before I went to Holmes. And I got a D in algebra. And I'll never forget the professor, he announced the grades, and he called me up there on my way out. He says, Mr. Getty, you barely passed the class with a D. I'm going to suggest that you want to take this class over again. I said, can I get this straight? With the D, I never have to take algebra again. Is that correct? Well, yes, sir. But thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
And I walked out.
That's almost the exact same conversation I had with one of my professors.
Go on.
Hey, if you take this course again and get maybe a B or an A, your GPA goes up. Blah 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 blah. My GPA is fine. Number one, and I said, number one, my GPA is fine. Every other class I've had an A, and other than this one, pretty much. Then I said, number two, if I just take this D and move on, do I get to graduate? And they were like, yeah. I said, see you later.
You and I had the same exact conversation.
As the Steve Miller Band once said, ooh, take the money and run.
Take the D and run.
Yeah. Soccer got its season underway last week with a couple of exhibition games. They went up to Murfreesboro, Tennessee to play they're the Blue Devils.
Blue Raiders.
Blue Raiders. Gosh, that's right.
You didn't know that one.
No, I knew it. I just couldn't come up with it.
We need the buzzer.
That's an old Conference USA foe.
Oh.
Charlie Brown's teacher set me straight there. And then they played Pearl River Community College. And I don't know how these soccer teams...
Wait. Can we just say, I knew a mascot that Kelly didn't know. Can we just document this moment?
I knew they were the Blue Raiders because it was Conference USA. I just couldn't come up with it at the moment.
What coulda, woulda, shoulda.
But how any of these soccer teams can play in this kind of weather? I was talking to one of the Eagle soccer players who transferred here from Cali. That's the state of California, Bob. For those of you that aren't hip.
Well, the gas prices are high here, but she saw a dip from here in California.
Yes. Oh, a dip in the gas prices, but a huge increase on the thermometer.
Yeah, for real.
And she was even saying, I don't know how y'all do this. Playing soccer. I mean, this is dangerous being out in heat like this.
And they don't have lights over that stadium, so they have to play in the afternoon.
That's right.
So, I went to my first game covering Southern Miss of anything all the way back in 2021 was a soccer game against UAB, and I stood on the field, and I remember thinking, I'm not doing this.
Is it exciting?
It was hot.
Hot. Oh, I get
it was like
you.
August 6th. That was my first game
yeah.
I've ever covered anything Southern Miss doing, and now it's 2026, almost 5 years later.
It may have been a tad cooler this weekend. I don't think it was quite as bad yesterday.
And maybe in Murfreesboro, Tennessee,
it wasn't as bad in the ocean water, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, Mr. Dima got to go to the beach.
I was
this
cutting grass and washing cars this weekend in the heat. What about you, Kelly?
I was sitting around the house in my underwear and Megadeth T-shirt, drinking beer and watching TV.
I don't want to hear it.
Well, sorry about
At least
that.
it didn't say Speedo.
And you wonder why I'm single.
This is I have.
I
no
don't
wonder.
I know why you're
We don't
single.
have any wonder about that whatsoever, Kelly.
Okay.
Nor do we have any wonder of now why your neighbors all pitched in and bought Venetian blinds for your house.
And the flies pitched in to fish the screen door off of the kitchen. Oh, my cooking is no good either.
Did you see the houses for sale around his lot? Everybody around him has for sale signs up.
You can understand that, right?
The smell coming from his house.
Yes,
It's too much.
And the visuals.
I could tell you why it smells, but I would rather not.
Well, Hump's about to be there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Southern Miss.
To the top.
Slipping into the future. I wanna fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till I'm free. I go through the revolution.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.